My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello there and welcome back to Transport Fever 2 as we continue on our Let's Play series centred in and around Coventry. In today's episode, I believe we're going to start looking at the little towns around the map. Well, I say little, some of them have grown quite large, including Coventry itself, which you can see there just off in the distance from this hillside vantage point that we have. And what I'm going to start doing, I think, is looking at the road networks in and around the cities, the road networks between the cities and the city connections for private transportation, so people's own cars and things like that, and also whether or not the stops, the truck unload stations and such like that we have where the goods are delivered into the towns and the cities, whether they're still reaching all their clients or whether they need to be relocated. However, straight after that we seem to have an issue. So what's going off here? We have two trains that are facing off against one another. Let's quickly hop over there and have a look. How has this happened? Oh, I see. Okay. So what's happened here is there's not enough clearance for these trains to pass one another because they're that much longer these days. So the way we'll fix that is we shall have... yes, this connection here, we don't want any catenary, not at this point. In fact, sorry, clicking all the wrong things there. We'll get rid of that little bit of track there and we'll make this longer with a view of allowing... what the... that is superb. Look at that. Yeah, let's go for that. Why not? No, we're not doing that. Don't know what happened there. He's doing it again. What the hell? That is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so a few little shenanigans there, clearly, with the track lane, but we seem to have got it addressed and we've got the track laid in now. Now, let's see, that should hopefully... we'll check it with this train here now when he pulls up to this signal. Will that be long enough space for his back end to clear this junction here? I think it will with the looks of it. Or it's going to be tight. No, he's clear-ish, I think. However, the fact that we're not adding any further trains onto this line, or at least I've got no plans to add extra trains onto this forest to sawmill route, that issue shouldn't reoccur again. We'll keep an eye on it. So anyway, now that we've sorted that little issue, as I said, I want to check not only the intertown road connections and improve them and expand on them, but also the drop-off points in the cities and just making sure that they're still able to hit all of the clients who are demanding the goods that are being dropped off there. So if we take, for example, this drop-off point here, which is for the bricks. Now, the bricks are consumed by the industrial sector of Coventry. So if we go into the cargo layer, I don't know if it can... can I click on that and overlay it at this end? No, you can't. That's quite annoying. However, the colours, as you can see here, they relate to the amount of supply the buildings are getting, or rather the industries are getting is probably a better way to put it, or the commercial shops are receiving. Now, I'm not sure... oh, can we... in fact, where's the RCI layer? Is that it? Yes. Can we overlay... oh, you can, but it's not the clearest. So anyway, all these yellow, as you can see here, yellow and pale yellow highlighted buildings are the industrial. And when I don't think we are hitting them all. I think an easier way to check this is if we go ahead and act as though we were about to put in another truck stop. Now, if we put it pretty much at the same place where the existing truck stop is, we can see that there are a few, this one here and a couple down here, that are not receiving any bricks. We have one over here as well, who's decided to nestle himself in amongst all the commercial sector, which is probably not the best idea. What do we have here? The BR 75.4 BAD 6C, I guess that is. A little locomotive there, 56 mile an hour. Is going to be some sort of little workhorse shunt service, perhaps. Don't think we'll need to see him in service on the network. So the question is, can we relocate this truck stop because where it is at the minute, it extends into it's giving coverage up into these residential buildings up here, where it's not needed. But if we were to just say drop it further down this street, I do believe that will give us a lot more coverage. So what we can do, quickly pause it. If we just delete that truck stop, it's not, obviously the line is going to be a little bit upset with us over this. But if we quickly, while it's paused, put in a replacement truck stop, say there. There is a building up at the top, a couple at the top there that aren't getting supplied. If we put it there, what about over here? Now that cuts out even more. However, that looks like a decent enough place, and it looks like, oh no, we're not getting coverage. There's a couple down at the bottom where there's no coverage. So this is basically a little bit of trial and error at this time, just to see where we think the best place to have the unload station or the unload point is going to be, to get as much of that's the demand as we can. Over there cuts out, oh, far too many. I think that's going to be the best. And what we could do is actually demolish some of the industries that aren't covered in this radius, with the hopes that they're going to relocate themselves nearer to the unload station, if that makes sense. So for example, these industries here aren't in the catchment area. If we demolish them, and we just hope or pray, bit of both I suppose, that they relocate themselves a bit, a little bit closer to the catchment area where they will get service. Likewise, this one, and this one, I don't believe they were covered by the unload station, the unload stop that we just built. And there's one more just nestled in here in amongst all the commercial buildings. Obviously, they do have all this space here where they could relocate their industries to, and it should, and looking at what's covered at the moment, they will get covered there. So we'll just have to hope that that occurs. As for the commercial, we can do the same again. If we get a rough idea of what's being, as you see there, look over on the left-hand side by the station, there is a lot of commercial premises that looks like they're not getting any supply. So could we perhaps relocate the truck stop to here? It does leave a few up to the north end of Coventry, as you can see, just above the Coventry nameplate. In fact, what's that? 1, 2, there's about 5 or 6 up there that wouldn't be covered by this unload stop, but we are covering all those down towards the station area, which has surely got to be the better of the two options. So we'll do that. We'll replace that one, and then if we just amend the line here, so if we just go to manage line, and instead of going to St John's Road, you instead go to Springfield Road, remove St John's Road from the line, and then we can demolish the station or the drop-off point. And then if we just quickly identify those ones, it was these ones which weren't included in the catchment area, and we'll go through again and demolish them. It is unfortunate because it's quite costly to demolish them, but the hopes is once again that they're going to rebuild in a more suitable place where they are going to get full coverage. Okay, so that's that. Now let's just have a quick check on Coventry. Let's unpause the game, I should say. So we've got over nearly 1,200 residents at this time. We're still very poor on emissions, I should say. I think that's mainly due to the fact that the vehicles we have available to us are quite noisy, and there's not much we can do about that perhaps until we get more modern vehicles. We do have all the maintenance set to very high, so in terms of trying to address the issue, it does feel like we've done as much as we can. One thing I have noticed is I don't believe much oh no, they are covered. All the residents are covered by our bus service and the tram service. Because I was thinking, do we perhaps have a new bus route in Coventry to cover, just like a small loop to cover this area, to get these residents onto the major stops, if you follow my logic. In fact, that's probably not a bad idea, because it'll just give them that little bit of extra convenience, and it should encourage further transportation use, well, public transport use I should say. So if we just go ahead and drop in just a quick route, just a small one, like this for example, we've got to stop there, so we'll put one there. Now we do want these to share stops with our tram networks, like that one there for example. So then they can just get on this little circular bus, the circle route if you will, and then change here and get onto the trams and then be taken off to wherever they need to go within the network. That's the plan. Should work. It makes sense, I think. Well, it makes sense in my head anyway. Whether it works in theory or not remains to be seen, but we can but try. Yes, so we'll just have a small little loop service like that. I think this is is this the third bus service now in Coventry? We can check if we just scroll up. Yes, we've only got a third bus service in Bridport. So let's just back and rename this. So this is bus service 03 for Coventry. And again, the more public transport and the better catchment you have with your public transport, it tends to lend itself to more city growth. Obviously, the more city growth you have, the more potential passengers you have on your network as well. So it all does feed on itself, which is excellent. We will need some buses assigned to this new line, so let's go ahead and select passenger buses, or passenger vehicles, not passenger buses. All buses are passenger buses. And what do we want to use? Now I am mindful about emissions, so it's basically at this point a balance between speed, capacity and emissions. And I think I'm going to go with the Mac. And given it's only a shortish little feeder route, if that makes sense, we'll just go for 5. It doesn't need to be much more than that. What colour it's that? Is it that purple there? Perhaps that's what I think it is. I'll assign it that colour. Don't know if that helicopter there is coming through that you can hear. I can hear it. Don't know if it's being picked up on the recording. If it is, I do apologise. So there we go. So for now, that should be Coventry okay. Okay, so now that we've addressed Coventry, or at least had a quick look at Coventry, let's look. Well, Bridgewater's not really grown that much yet because it's not had any goods supply. So we can forgo Bridgewater for the time being. However, Bridport is getting supplied its goods, so this is likely expanded. And again, it's worth quickly checking whether our existing network is reaching the clientele. So if we again just do the same thing over here, get an unload station as if we were going to place down a new one. This is where we're dropping off our machinery. Again, we are not getting full coverage at that location. So if we were to say perhaps relocate the drop-off point to, or would it be, in fact, would it probably just be just as well? Yes, I think it's going to be just as well, just to demolish the customers that aren't being serviced. And then, like I said, like we did in Coventry, we just have to hope that when they rebuild, they do it in such a location where they will receive full coverage. The tools, which is here, coverage for the tools is pretty appalling. It looks like none of this over here is going to be in the catchment area of our existing drop-off point. So if we relocate the tool drop-off point to just here, there is the issue that it may interfere with the bus network because we have a bus stop a few yards back. What if we were to instead put it over here? Now that's missing out all these, which would be an issue. I think we'll just have to relocate it there and just live with the fact that it may interact with the bus network in some way, shape or form. So instead of Springfield Road, let's in fact just quickly pause. Quickly pause it. It's not pausing, it's jumping to the bloody the stations. And then add station, which is now going to be this one. And what we can do is they're coming this way, dropping off here. If we just connect this road here to this road here, hopefully they'll be encouraged to come up this way instead and return to the cargo hub that way, rather than U-turning and doubling back on themselves like they are at the moment. So let's just quickly do that. Let's get the street tool. Just put in a connection like that. That should be okay. Now have they? Yes, they rerouted themselves. Okay. So there we go. In terms of our bus network, it looks like we've got decent coverage throughout. At least for the time being, so we can press on from that. Let's take a quick look at Gillingham. Is Gillingham receiving any goods yet? I don't believe... Oh, yes, it's getting the fuel. And that looks like it's getting good blanket coverage at the moment, so we can press on from Gillingham. Petersfield is being delivered the bricks. Let's just verify the location is still suitable for the brick unload point. Perhaps not. Perhaps if we were to put it up this way instead. Say there, that might be a better location for that. So we'll do that. So let's quickly pause it again because we're going to modify this line. So manage the line, and after the brickworks, if you instead go to Highfield Road, and you can forgo Park Avenue, and then we'll demolish that stop, and we'll see how that does. So a little bit of fine tuning on the cities there. It is something that's worth doing from time to time, just to make sure things are flowing as quickly and as efficiently as they can. Now, we could have a road connection between Petersfield and Gillingham. They are very close together. So let's go ahead and do that as well while we're here. Let's get the street tool. Let's have a country road. And they could come this way. And then where it veers down to the steel mill by the river, let's say this point here, we could have a junction that branches off that way. Now, we do have a line here, so it would be ideal if we could start raising up with a view to having a bridge over the main line. Well, it's not the main line, it's the Derby connection, isn't it? Yes. Even so, if we could have a bridge over that train line, it'll help with traffic flow because they shouldn't be waiting for the level crossing to clear. And now if you just go level from that point, like that. How does that look? That doesn't look too bad at all. We'll go ahead and take that, and then you can return back down to your natural level like that. Perhaps if we have a raised embankment rather than an extended bridge, and then we can just circle around this little hill, just so we're not having to rise and fall quite as much as we may do. And then drop him into Gillingham like so. So now the residents have a connection between Petersfield and Gillingham. Do we have what? Yes, we have one between Gillingham and Bridport. It's this road here. Again, whether we convert this into a bridge over the train line so the traffic doesn't have to wait for the trains to clear, that's one possibility. Coventry and Bridport are connected because we have the bus service, and we know that Coventry and Bridgewater are also connected because we laid it in a couple of episodes ago, or it was done off camera during the recording issue. But they are definitely connected and the buses are running. Whether they're being used that much or not, I don't know. We have a connection down to Stoke as well. And can they get over to Morley if they so desired? Yes, they could. Via their bridge here. But can we get one up to Boston and Stockton up in the hills? I don't think... No, there is a connection at the moment. Look, we have this road here, which I believe does run down into Gillingham. Yes, it does indeed. But it's probably not a bad idea to also get one from Coventry at the same time. For example, what we could do is we will already have a road going under the railway line there. So if we have a junction off this way and climb up towards the hills here and the mountains, we can either tunnel through, which might be quite interesting, or we could circle around. Now I think obviously it would be more efficient just to have a direct tunnel like so. That doesn't look too bad. Yes. Again, whether these roads see any use or not is a different matter, but it does give them the option there should they so choose. And it should also encourage a bit of growth as well. Okay, so that's the that's most of the cities quickly checked out, and a few extra road. What's going on here? Is that? Oh yes, that's okay. Does look a bit weird, but it's okay. Just pretend it's okay. So in terms of where we head from here, obviously we did spend the last episode going through and upgrading all the vehicles on our network that were still running the older variants that are available. So that's been done. We've also just quickly checked our cities and performed a few tweaks that should help things and should encourage further growth. Let's have a look at our passenger stations here. The main line is still extremely busy. I'm going to rename this one to the Northern Shuttle. Since it's serving the northern towns from Coventry, it'll be called the Northern Shuttle. That way we know what it is and what it's doing at a glance. So yes, we're very, very busy here in Bridport. A lot of people waiting for the main line. Do we perhaps need extra trains on the main line at this point? How does it look in Coventry? It's the same story. We've also a lot of people waiting for the Northern Shuttle. We do have a mainline train just arriving, but this is probably the issue. Because they're arriving on platform full, obviously yes, some people may be disembarking in Coventry, but if they're not, then there's not much availability for the people waiting in Coventry to actually get on the train. Let's see how many disembark here. I imagine because it's Coventry, there would be quite a few who decide to who are leaving this the service here. Let's just quickly keep an eye on it and see if we can spot roughly how many we get off. It was about 60. And how many do we have waiting on platform, or did we have waiting on platform? I'm guessing we had I think it was north of 100. I can't quite remember. But it just means we're still not clearing the platforms. How many? We have 4 trains running the Northern Shuttle. We have 6 trains running the main line. Could we perhaps have better trains running the main line? Let's just have a look. If we just select 2 so we can do some side-by-side comparisons. We want locomotives. I think we're using the Russian Class S at the moment, if I'm not mistaken. One way to check is just hover over here. No, we're running the A35. Let's compare and see what difference. See, this is faster. 68, 48 and 26. So I'd say yes, we'll upgrade these trains and we'll have them running the Class S instead of the A35s. That extra speed, it's going to get them to, they're going to run the line that little bit faster. So that's going to increase the frequency and by extension, in theory, the rate, which is going to get the people onto the trains and off the platforms that little bit faster. At least that's how the theory holds. Whether that holds true or not remains to be seen. We'll have to come back and check it a little bit later. Let's have a quick look at Derby. Derby station is looking quite busy with 66 waiting. We only have the 2 trains running this service. Perhaps it's worth doubling up on those as well and having 4. So we'll do that. Oh, we'll go for 3. 3 should be sufficient, I think. And what we can start doing now is planning the connection into Macclesfield. We touched on it last time in a previous episode. And we were discussing where can we actually fit in the station. Just because of the geography and the way the land falls in and around Macclesfield, we are quite restricted in terms of space. But if perhaps, make sure we do have the blue trim, 2 tracks, and we'll go for 240 meters. But I think perhaps if we have it down here, won't be too bad, because we can have, as we often do, a public transport connection from the city to the station to get the passengers in and out and on their journeys. So we'll do that. We'll place him there, and then it's a question. We don't want to ship up. Yeah, let's go ahead and wow. No, let's not do that. Yes, track lanes. Come on, focus. Now the issue here is it's going to be the emissions, the noise pollution from the trains, because there's no way that we're going to avoid all the residential areas like we've been able to one extent or another anyway, in the other cities. Shall we just go straight through, have a tunnel through here and then sweep in that way? I think that's not a bad idea. But you can start climbing a little. I say a little, that's quite a steep climb there. But Derby is raised up compared to Macclesfield, so they are going to have to climb at some point, so we may as well just bite the bullet now and accept it. So where are you emerging here? Yes, that's not too bad. And then we can have you run a little bit straighter or a little bit more level from this point on as you head in towards Derby Station. Just realise there I am talking to a train line as if it's a person. So if we don't want to, I don't think we want a viaduct at that point. Let's just wait there 1 second and instead let's complete the tracks leaving Derby so we know where we are. So drop that line in like so. That doesn't look too bad, not from what I can see from here anyway. And then that one like so. Then we want the diamond here. It's not let me do it, I think I was too close to the other switch. There we go, that should be, yes, that's fine, that's fine. That's perfect. And then we'll meet up coming this way. Oh, we've got another tunnel. Where is... Oh, yeah, there's the... Why are you going down? Don't go down. Did I tell him to go down? I must have done. Have a nice little cutting here. Bring him across. He's going to cross this road just here, which is fine. Make sure we're heading towards the existing tracks. We are perfect. Absolutely lovely. Where are you? There you are, just hidden amongst the trees. It's quite scenic, quite nice. Must say I quite enjoy that. And let's just go down there and have a almost like a first person look. Yes, that's quite nice. But you can see here how excessive the tunnel dips down. But as I said, because Derby's raised up, there's little we can do to avoid that. But now that they're connected, obviously we do need a diamond over here as well, just so the planes, the trains can get on the correct platform that they're being assigned to. Quickly go and drop some blocks in here. What can we upgrade? Oh, it's the key. Get your words out. It's the catenary that we can catenary. The electrification that we can upgrade at the moment. I didn't know if we had the high-speed tracks yet, but we do not. So let's quickly just go ahead, drop some signals in along here for blocking purposes. Although at this point in time we're only going to have, I think, just 2 trains running between Derby and Macclesfield. Like that. I think we can get one more block up here and then we'll need a signal just at the diamond switch, which is there. There we go. Now we could extend the shuttle service between between Gillingham and Derby to then run on to Macclesfield, but instead I think I'm going to have a new line. And this will be the West Mainline, because it's on the west-hand side of the map. Or at least that's how I'm calling this, the western side. I don't know which side is actually north anymore. Got that confused from when it first started. Western Mainline. I'm going to select a different colour because we've used quite a lot of the pinks and purples later. So we'll go for a green colour for this, I think. So the idea being the Western Mainline eventually is going to be Derby, Macclesfield, Ulverston and perhaps even Weybridge and Quinchurell Downs. So we're going to have a Western Mainline. Obviously we'll start with the Northern Shuttle. We'll probably change that to Northern Mainline. And we'll extend that from Petersfield to Haywood, and that will be the final stop there. We have the Coventry Mainline, which obviously runs the entire network. And while it's not a mainline as such, we do have a southern service which connects Stoke into Bridgewater. There's that little commuter service set up quite a few episodes ago now. But we're waffling on, we need to get a train. I've lost my depot. Oh, there it is. No, that's a tram depot. Well done. You're not going to get... Oh, there it is. Okay, so buy a vehicle. We shall go straight for the Class S. We're not putting cargo wagons on there. The people aren't going to sit in a... Although I suppose you could sit in a boxcar. What carriage shall we use? I'm going to go for the top light coaches. And we'll have 4. That'll give us a capacity of 64, which might be excessive at this point in time, but at some point we're probably going to need more anyway when popularity increases. Give him the colour scheme, and then where are you? Oh, yes, I can't see the... Wow. Oh, can I not access it? Oh no, I've got the eye selected, that's why. Western Mainline. There we go. So they should make their way all the way up here over to Derby, up to Derby station, and then they can start, for now, just running between the 2 stations. Although while we're here, we may as well continue up to Ulverston. It's not that far away. And Ulverston, again, the land is horrendous up here. It's very, very rugged and uneven. So finding a nice, pretty place to put in a train station might be a bit of a challenge, but let's have a look. I don't think we're going to have... What do we have at the moment? The Russian Class YE and the heavyweight 281 Parlour, which runs at 112 miles per hour. Jesus, that's a fast one. Obviously, we don't have any trains that can go that fast. Anyway, as I was saying, yes, I think there's no alternative but to have this station actually within the confines of the city itself. And we will have it as a terminus station. There's nowhere else for them to go behind us, as we can see. That just runs to a tools factory up there. Obviously, there's no passenger lines going to be running that up that way. So let's just go ahead and... Oh, we've got an immediate tunnel there, okay. But that's just the lay of the land. There's no... I suppose there's no 2 ways about it. However, we can put the diamond in... Oh, my God. We can. We won't. Not if it's going to do that, we won't. So the diamond's going to have to be quite far from the platform. Given that Ulverston's only a small station and a small town, for now, that shouldn't be a problem. And then which way are we looking? Up to Macclesfield? Okay, we'll skirt, I think, around this way, around the iron ore mine, past the forest, and then up to Macclesfield. I don't think we're going to have much pickup on this service at the minute because these 2 towns are quite small. Do you know what? I quite enjoy that little... I say it's quite a substantial bridge, but yeah, I quite enjoy that. Yeah, I like that. I'm happy with that. I think that looks quite nice. We'll have that. We can afford it these days. You know, we have got, what is it, 74 million there. Things are picking up very nicely, so we may as well splurge and be a bit luxuriant and treat ourselves to a lovely little viaduct. This incline is quite substantial. Again, it's suggesting we have a viaduct. I think not at that point. We'll just have an embankment instead, and we can just smooth it out to make it look a little bit more natural. Oh, we're not going to leck it. I don't. What is leck? Not a word I'm familiar with. Now we need to be climbing straight back up. This is probably not the most efficient route. You could have probably just bored. Why can't I do that? Am I clicking in the wrong place? Why are you playing silly buggers? You're not happy with me with this, are you? Why? There you go. Sometimes it does that. I'm not quite sure why, but all you have to do is just do it in little increments, and the game gets tricked into agreeing to doing what you wanted it to do in the first place. Anyway, let's continue. See, we are climbing quite steeply. That's the word I'm looking for at this point, but that's okay because our trains are getting more and more powerful as the years progress, so handling gradients is less of a chore. Obviously, you still want to avoid them where you can, but unfortunately, sometimes the nature of the landscape prohibits that, and you're left with no choice but to climb. What's happened there? I'm just going to get rid of that crossing. Oh god! I don't know what we built there, but that was rather bizarre. And instead we'll just because this is the main connection, so they're not... Drop that back that way. Get the road tool again, and then at some point you should be able to accept the fact that you're going to give me a bridge. You're going to have to live with it. We're having a bridge. Perhaps if we... Okay, let's go further back this way as well. And start raising up that little bit sooner. So we're a bit higher when we get to the rail line where we're going to cross. Perhaps not like that. There we go. And then if you come over now, keeping level. How does that look? It's a bit high, isn't it? No. Come back the way. Come back the way. What about if we go like that with an embankment rather than a bridge at this point? And then will you give me a yes? Oh, yes. We can shufty that out of the way. But if we just do that, that's okay. And then connect him into the existing road network. He'll do what he needs to do to get there. And there we go. They're happy again. And if you're not aware, the way just to sort that out is just... Okay, it's not... That's not going to work. It's not going to do it. It's going to instead shift it that way. There you go. And then you can just get rid of the track. And it keeps the bridge footings in the position where it just relocated them to. And there we go. We need blocking on this. Did we put a diamond up here yet? No, we didn't. So we need to put a diamond. Then we need to do the blocking. And then we can extend the Western Mainline to also reach out to Ulverston. As I said, it's not going to be that busy at the minute because Macclesfield and Ulverston are only small villages or small towns. Large villages, small towns perhaps is the better way to describe them. So let's get our blocks in very quickly. We've got, is it 3 trains I put on this, on the Western Mainline? I think it was. So we don't need excessive blocking, so we can leave quite substantial gaps. We'll have one on the viaduct. And then we need one just before the diamond there. Like so. Ulverston, yes. Checking that the station names were correct, and they are. Manage the line, and then after Macclesfield, you go into Ulverston, and then back to Macclesfield. Now, clearly, there's no uptake at the moment, simply because there's no way for them to get to the station. But we can address that very simply by putting a road connection in front of the station there, like that, and then curved road like that. That should do quite nicely. And then setting up a small, simple bus service like that. Just a quick, simple loop around the town. And then you're coming back out to that station. That should work. Let's just check that. So we go from there, and then we go, click it, yeah, there to there, to there, to there, back to there, and then you're going back to King Street, which is the station stop. That's absolutely fine. So this is bus service 01, and this is in Macclesfield. There we go. What else do we need? A depot, yes, of course, to get the buses actually running the lines. Let's put it there because why the heck not? First place I saw, and I'm committed to it now. We'll say have 5. No, we'll go for 6. Why not? Let's treat them. You can have 6, you guys. Very high maintenance. Bus service 01 Macclesfield. Now we should start seeing a little bit of passenger generation at the station now that they can actually get there and get from the station, which is good. Ulverston, I'm not sure if it will need a bus service. It should have a little. Oh, it's got a little bit of catchment, so yeah, it will. It is going to need a. It's only got a little bit of catchment, so it is going to need a bus service. That's what I'm trying to say. We need to connect those 2 streets because otherwise they're going to be doing U-turns. There we go. New line. There we go. Yes, that's perfect. So this is bus service 1 for Ulverston. How do I spell it? Is it Ulverston or Ulverston? I can't remember. We'll check in a minute. Ulverston. It's not stone, it's stun. Even though I'd still pronounce it as Ulverston, even if I had the E on the end. But that's by the by. There we go. Ulverston. Depot, please. Let's put him there. Okay, he's off centre, but I don't care. So we'll go for 5. They've got this. Oh god, I don't know what colour it is. I'm just going to get closer. The close approximations are going to be good enough for me. There we go. I'll just click visible lines. There we go. Yes. Okay, so we should start seeing a bit of passenger generation in Macclesfield and Ulverston. We do have some on the line on their buses. You're heading to the avenue. So it's King Street, which is, in fact, if I rename King Street Station or King Street Stop to the station, that way we know exactly if they're going to the station, and by extension if they're getting onto our trains. One is, that's good. Yeah, we had one going to the station. Nothing at Ulverston yet, but give it time. Has our... is that one of our Western Mainlines? No. That's the shuttle service to Gillingham and Derby. Don't know why I checked that one, because the Western Mainline doesn't run down here, so it certainly won't be that. What about one of the... No, they're the main Coventry Mainline trains. Is that one? Yes. So, given that we haven't given these a proper look and appreciation yet, we'll do that just now. So he's licking along at 65 miles an hour, which is a very, very respectable speed. He does look a very beautiful locomotive. C245. Our inaugural... Oh, and there's one of our... What is that? Oh, that's the Northern shuttle there, the pink one. Just pulling into platform here in, I guess, is this Gillingham now? It must be. Yes, there's 2 of our Northern shuttles. Yes, it is Gillingham. A little bit of train interaction here. As you can see, we've got the signals here, so he didn't have to wait at the other side of the station or on the platform. He could pull right up to here. Let's just get down... Oh no, wrong button. Get down low. Almost like a ground level sort of view. Yes. It's quite an impressive train. Look, I like the green colour scheme he has. While I have this train actually, we did have those new carriages, and I might not use them on this line per se. However, I do want to have a look at them. The main line at the minute is running the 6-axle passenger car, which has 20 and runs at 68. The heavyweight parlour runs at 112 and has a capacity of 19. Now, I don't think our mainline trains are, or at least the mainline locos, in fact we can check here, we have him right here. What is their top speed? Is it 71? I believe it is. So for the time being, there's no need to have the heavyweight parlours. I know they've got a lot higher top speed potential, but given that our trains, our locomotives are the ones restricted, we may as well just keep the 6 axles for the time being until we get slightly faster trains, and then we can look at changing the carriages for the new unlocked heavyweight parlours. So do we have anybody waiting at any of our stations yet? No, and nothing at Ulverston, at Derby. Oh, we have one about to take the Western Mainline, and he's heading to Ulverston. Perfect. This line is not going to be commercially viable for, I imagine, the longest time. Not until we start seeing some growth in Derby, Macclesfield and Ulverston. To that end, I just noticed Derby has a requirement for food, as does Macclesfield. We do have a food plant just outside of Derby, and we have a farm just on the river. Could we extend this little access road down through these mountains and run a trucking line up to here, delivering the grain to the food plant, and then from the food plant naturally dropping the food that's produced into Derby and Macclesfield. That will stimulate some decent growth in those two cities and increase the amount of passengers. So that's something to consider. Perhaps we'll look at that in the next episode. Now that we have the main line, the Western Mainline I should say, laid in and connected, it is time, I think, to start making sure we get some money off it by growing the towns that the Western Mainline is serving. Now the two obvious ones, as I've just said, are Macclesfield and Derby, because it looks like quite an easy logistical setup. Yes, do we have a sawmill nearby? Because I've just obviously spotted we have a tools plant here, and Ulverston does have a demand for tools, because we do have logging or forest encampments nearby, but the nearest sawmill looks like it's this one outside of Haywood. So in terms of getting the tools production up here, may have to wait on that, but we can definitely make a start on the food one tomorrow, I think. So yes guys, I think that's a nice time to leave this episode. Did a bit of maintenance on the cities at the start, and then laid in the Western Main Line for Derby, Macclesfield and Ulverston in the back end of the episode, and got that up and running, and had a look at the train as he heads down, and he did look rather splendid. A couple of unlocks, but nothing that we could really utilise at this moment in time, but going forward I'm sure it won't be too long before we start seeing the heavyweight parlours on our passenger lines, just because of the top speed that they have of was 113 miles an hour. If we can get a train that can do 80, 90, 100, then those carriages are going to make sense. Yes, they have a slightly lesser capacity, but if the train's running 20 miles an hour faster than they are at the moment, it's got to be worth the trade-off. So yeah, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and if you're enjoying the series, as always, don't forget to like, leave a comment and even subscribe. So all that remains for me to say now is take care of yourselves guys, ta-ta for now.